Hi, everyone.
Hi, welcome to Myth Busting Mondays. I'm Orna
And
Walters.
I'm Matthew Walters. That's right. Every Monday, we tackle all the myths about love that are getting in the way of you creating the lasting love that you want.
Yes, we don't tackle them all in one day. We
No,
do one every Monday.
yes. Myth busting Mondays, yes. It'll be a long,
It would be
long
a
video.
long video if we did all the myths in one day. We do
You're funny.
all the myths. We do them all. All right, today we're going to talk about this. This is one of my favorite ones.
Yeah.
Yeah, are men intimidated by successful women? Or another way you could say that is, are men intimidated by powerful women?
Um, yes. No. Who knows?
Well, what we're supposed to know. We're busting the myth.
I know. I'm just joking a little bit. So, this whole idea of men being intimidated by successful or powerful women is, I think, ultimately a cover for a lot of women who are successful in life but are struggling in love. And it's easy to just say, well, men are intimidated by me because I'm so awesome, right? But the truth is, a lot of men like awesome women. I mean, look at me. I married this amazing woman who is smart, she's ambitious, she's passionate, and those are the reasons I wanted to be with her, because she was smart, ambitious, passionate, and besides being, kind of hot. So, the question is, are men intimidated by successful or powerful women? Well, I think generally no, but there are some men who don't like it. Now let's talk about what's really going on.
Yeah, let's talk about what's really going on, because I think you're right, Matthew. I think for a long time, I worked in the entertainment industry for several decades, and I was very successful in my career track. Really struggled in my love relationships, and if I could put it off on the men just were intimidated by me, I definitely used that for a little bit.
Yeah,
But
it's a good excuse, right?
I mean, here's the deal: is men generally that's not what's really going on. I mean, if you're a powerful, successful woman, I would think you want to be with a powerful, successful man. And if you don't want that, if you really want a man who's a homebody, who's a little bit more in his feminine, I don't think there'd be a problem finding that. But oftentimes, what happens is we talk to women all around the globe that are successful, that are powerful, and they're unhappy when they're doing a lot of the work in the relationship they're expecting the man to do. And so they do it for a while, thinking at some point it'll switch and the guy they're dating will like step it up or something.
Yeah, and that's just not going to happen, right? So let's look at what's really going on. So let's talk about masculine energy and feminine energy real quick, right? Masculine energy, you put two masculine energies together, and it's naturally a competitive situation. It's a competitive energy, whether it's physical competition or mental competition. Men just love to kind of compete with each other. And sometimes they do it in a way that encourages each other. And sometimes they do it in a way that puts each other down. It doesn't really matter. It's part of that dynamic of two masculine energies.
Yeah, I mean, I remember listening to some kids in the park one day.
Yeah.
I like to go to the park. I like to swing on swings and stuff. And there were these three boys, and they were bouncing balls, and they were hilarious. Like these little super balls or whatever. And they're like, one boy is like, my ball bounces tall as that building, and another, the other little boy is like, my ball bounces high as the tree. And the third boy goes, my ball bounced to the moon. I mean, here they are, little boys. They're already being competitive to
Yeah.
see whose ball bounced higher.
So oftentimes what happens in that dynamic when you've got a smart, successful, ambitious woman who's used to in her career being in her masculine, right?
Making things happen,
right? Is when she meets another, more masculine male, it's like he suddenly finds himself in a competitive dynamic with the woman that he wants to be attracted to. Now, it's not that men and women can't compete. We're not saying that. But we're saying if you want a romantic dynamic, if you want a relationship dynamic with a man, he's not going to want to compete with you. He wants to do that with his male friends. He doesn't want to do that with his girl, his woman, his wife, whatever you want to say.
I mean, he might want to compete with women at work, right?
Yeah.
But he doesn't want to compete at home, right? He doesn't want to compete on a date, right? That competitive energy suddenly puts a damper on things in the romantic category and in the bedroom, if you know what I mean. So the deal is, let's talk about the dynamic between two women, right?
Yeah.
Two women are reciprocal, right? Two feminine energies together are generally reciprocal. I mean, Matthew makes jokes all the time and laughs about the thank you cards, and when does it end? I mean, every time we go and do an event, I have to buy like 3 boxes of thank you cards,
Yeah.
and then it
We
continues
have a whole
on.
drawer full of thank you cards.
Yeah.
Just in case.
Well,
just in case. You
no,
gotta
not
thank
in
somebody.
case they get sent out
Well, yeah.
on the regular.
Yes.
Yeah. So, here's the deal, right? I mean, you see your girlfriend's like, oh my gosh, I love your dress. You're like, oh my gosh, your hair looks fabulous. We just automatically reciprocate. And so I think a lot of times when women are powerful and successful in their career path, that they don't stop to sort of switch gears a bit and relax into their feminine when they're on a date and when they're dating and even long term when they're in a relationship. Now, here's the deal. Feminine energy is not at all passive,
Nope.
right? Somehow feminine got equated with passive, and
Not passive.
as you can see here, I am a no wallflower, right? So it's not about being passive. Instead, it is that receptive energy, right? So it's like, even when Matthew and I are working together, when we have our team calls, I'm sitting there listening and I'm responding, right? Matthew might have an idea. Oh, I'm, on the fly, and I'm going to respond to his idea. Now, the thing that most women don't realize, they have the power because you have veto power.
Yeah.
So if a man says, hey, I'd like to take you out on a date, you can say, no, thanks, right? You're immediately, it's over. Or he can say, hey, I'd like to take you out. And you can say, yeah, that'd be great. And he'd say, hey, how about sushi? You can be like, oh my gosh, forget about it. I hate raw fish. Or I'd love to take you to my favorite steakhouse. And you're like, I'm a vegetarian. So the woman in her not passive, but in her receptive energy gets veto power. You want the man to lead in the relationship. Yeah. And of course, when you're in a relationship over time, it will naturally have an ebb and a flow to that dynamic. But we're talking about in the dating process, because a lot of times what happens is women seem to think it's hard to find a good man who's interested in them. And what we want to say is it's so easy when you know what it is that you're looking for, right? If you're hyper focused on this idea that a man isn't going to like you, right? Or the kind of man you're interested in isn't going to like you, well, then it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. Yeah. So if you think that men are not attracted to you because you're successful or powerful, what we want to say is take a look at what that is keeping you from. Is it keeping you from being vulnerable? Is it keeping you from sharing your authentic self? Is it an excuse so that you then don't have to look at that part of your life? I mean, we're talking to a lot of people right now, particularly a lot of women, yeah, who were heightened with the fact that they're on their own because we've got this pandemic happening and people are locked up in their houses and they're not going to the office and they're not having that exchange that they have socially, and they're feeling isolated and they're feeling lonely. And so if you haven't put the effort into your personal relationships, particularly your romantic relationships, right?
Now is a great time.
Now is a great time to start looking at what adjustments can you make in the way that you're dating, because right now is a fabulous time to date for your soulmate. Now,
I have a question.
Uh-oh.
So,
yes.
Because I'm sure some of you might be confused and you might be thinking, hey, wait, does this mean if I'm receptive, I know that's not passive, but does this mean that I can't have an opinion? Does this mean that can't show how smart I am? Does this mean that I need to let a man do things for me that I can take care of myself so easily and effortlessly?
Here's the deal, ladies. Never, never dumb yourself down. You're smart, great, be smart. You're gonna end up with a guy who loves that you're intellectual, that you're smart, or whatever it is about you. The way we've always coached our clients is to be authentic. Yeah. Be your authentic self. Now, here's the deal. A man is going to want to do things for you. So we had a client once who was at an event back when we had live events. This is a few years back. And the speaker was in the back of the room after his talk, super handsome, surrounded by a bunch of women. And she was in there vying for his attention. And she said, oh my gosh, I watched this one woman win his attention. And she just did the most simple thing is she pulled out a water bottle. And as we were all talking to him, she just said, could you open this for me? And suddenly all of his energy went to this woman. And it was like she won. It's like she won, the long straw or whatever it was. It's like simply by asking him to do something. And I thought that was an interesting example because I don't think I've opened a water bottle in over a decade. Matthew always opens my water bottle. And it's funny, like we'll have meetings in people's offices, back when you were having in-person meetings and not just on Zoom. And they're always like, would you like, something to drink? And my preferred beverage is water. And of course they got Matthew too. So they bring 2 bottles of water and they hand one to me and they hand one to Matthew. Matthew immediately opens his bottle of water, passes it to me, and we swap. And then he gets to drink the one that they handed to me. And they're always just, whoever we have the meeting with usually just like is stopped in their tracks and they're like, whoa, right? So that might not be your thing. Maybe you don't drink water.
Yeah.
I mean, it could be anything. I really like it when a man opens the car door for me. I knew I liked that. And Matthew wasn't the car door opener when we started dating.
Wasn't raised that way, right? I was raised in an environment where, women could take care of themselves and it just wasn't something we were taught to do.
And we can take care of ourselves, but I like it. Like I feel like I'm on a date. Like I feel like I'm getting tucked into bed, or I don't know. There's just something really sweet about it when a man opens my car door and then closes it behind me. And so early on in our dating process, I said to Matthew, I really like it when a man opens the car door for me. Do you think you could do that?
Yeah. So what's happening here is I like her and she's telling me what I can do to make her happy. Do you think I want to do that? Do you think I'm like up for it? Like opening her car door? Now, if I had a philosophical issue with opening a car door for a woman, if I really truly believed, look, it's demeaning to you, it's demeaning to me, and why should I do it, right? Then we probably wouldn't be together.
No, we wouldn't be sitting here right now.
Now, I know that sounds a little weird, maybe a little harsh, but
it's superficial.
It's true, though, because what it means is we're not a values match.
It would mean that. And instead, what it meant when Matthew was like, oh, you like that? I could do that. And so it's really about knowing what it is that you want a man to do for you that you like, even if it is something that you can do for yourself.
Yeah.
I mean, I used to joke for a while when I was single and I really wanted to be in a great love relationship. I used to joke I just needed a man with a Makita, one of those cordless drills, because I just needed like things fixed around the house and everything else I was pretty much good with. And what we want to say is a man wants to be needed because really what he wants to be is he wants to be your hero. And so if you want a man to step up for you, then you got to leave something for him to do. And if he doesn't know what that is and he's trying to figure it out, then just tell him, right? With that, again, by being authentic, not by admonishing his efforts, right? I remember one.
Well, actually,
I wanted to talk about something because I think a lot of times when a man is showing off for a woman, women misunderstand.
Yeah, exactly. So, men want in some way to puff up their feathers, right? Like the birds do and a lot of other animals do. They want to puff themselves up and impress you in some way. Now, they don't know early on what is impressive to you. So they're going to use what they know best, right? We had a client who was on a first date with a guy and he made a point of waiting at the valet so that she would see his fancy car when he was leaving. Now she was like, why is he? I don't even like those kind of cars, right? That was her response. But our response was, hey, that guy is telling you he likes you now because he's trying to impress you. That may not impress you, but it does mean the guy likes you. Just like oftentimes on a first date, a guy will talk a lot about himself because he's trying in some way to puff himself up, to prove himself to you, to make himself look attractive or interesting or smart or successful or whatever it is he thinks you might like.
So here's the deal. If you want your man or the guy you're dating or even the guy you've been married to for a decade to step up and do things, like really be in the lead and initiate, then all you have to do is acknowledge and appreciate whatever efforts he's making.
Exactly.
You okay there, babe?
I am. I think I swallowed wrong.
Okay.
So
all you have to do is acknowledge and appreciate, right? I mean, we teach this stuff every day of the week. And sometimes when Matthew, gets to his honeydew list, say on a Saturday or whatever, he's got his Makita out and he's fixing things. And I'll be like, oh my gosh, thank you so much. I really appreciate that you got that done. And I mean it. Like, I'm not saying acknowledge and appreciate and bullshit him. I'm saying really be sincere in your acknowledgement and your appreciation of his efforts and his actions when he takes actions either trying to impress you or actually impressing you. Just telling him that you acknowledge and appreciate. What you don't have to do with the man is reciprocate.
Right.
So don't treat your man like your girlfriend.
No,
right?
We don't need the thank you cards for the thank you cards, right? What we need is to hear how much you like what we're doing. Like when I first started opening the car door for Orna, she would turn to me and just put her hand on my leg and go, thank you. Wow, I feel so loved and cherished. And I'd be like, that's right. I'm the man. I opened a car door, right? In fact, still to this day, 12 years in, yeah, she still acknowledges and appreciates me opening the car door for her. And it continues to motivate me to do it. I continue to feel good when we do it. Now let's look at the opposite. We had this client, right? She meets this guy on a flight. She's on a business trip. He's on a business trip. They're sitting next to each other and they really hit it off and they're flirting and they're having a great time. And the plane lands and he gets up and offers to get her bag. And she's like, no, I got it. And she grabs it down herself. And then they get off the plane and they're walking together and he offers to carry her bag or pull her bag for her. And she's like, nope, I'm good. I got it. And it's like she noticed the second that she said that the dynamic started to change a little bit. And suddenly.
And he went to his connecting flight.
And she went to hers flight. And she never heard from him again.
Yes, she didn't ask for the contact information.
Right. Now, we're not saying that that's the only reason, right? Because we weren't there. We don't know what's going on with that guy. He might have been in a relationship and just like flirting with a woman, right? But we are saying that if she wanted an opportunity for it to go somewhere, that accepting his offer and going, wow, thank you. That's really sweet. I appreciate that. Right?
I would love for you to do that.
I would love for you to do that. That would have changed the dynamic. And if there was an opportunity for him to ask for her number and follow up, that really would open the door for her.
So what we're trying to say is it's not that men are intimidated by successful or powerful women. It's just that a lot of successful and powerful women are operating in their romantic life and their dating life the same way that they operate in their career path. And if you're in your masculine in your career path and you want a man who's in his masculine, those two energies is not going to give you a satisfying relationship. Now, I know if you're like the millennials and that sort of area, you're probably looking at us like we're speaking another language. We promise you that this works no matter your age.
Right.
That even those younger men that you're looking to date will step up for you, will take the lead. And we know that the millennials and younger think everything should be equal. And we agree with that. We agree that a woman can have any kind of job she wants. She can be the head of whatever company. I'm the CEO of our corporate entity.
Exactly.
So we're not saying that there's something unequal here. What we're saying is that if you want to be in a relationship where that masculine and feminine dynamic is part of the piece that opposites attract, right? It's that opposite energy that's attracting, just like when it comes to magnets. Right? You put the similar energy, the same energies towards each other and they repel, and you put the opposite energy and they're magnetic. And that's what we're talking about here. So if you're a powerful, successful woman and you want to be dating a powerful, successful man, just relax. Let the guy do the work. You don't have to hop on a plane flight to go see him, even if he lives in another town. And
have him come to you.
Have him come to you, right? Have him make the effort. And the other piece, ladies, when you let the man make the effort, you don't waste all of that time with the guy who's just looking for something convenient. You are not something convenient. You're a prize, and that prize is to be won. In the olden days, in the Western days, you see those old Western movies where a lady would drop her hanky and see which guy would come running to pick it up, right, to see who was interested. And in this day and age, you can still find out who's really interested in you. Just step up by being your authentic self. Speak how you feel. Be that smart woman. Share your opinion. Always know that you have veto power. I'm going to end today by saying, remember this, ladies. The person with the pussy has the power. So you have the power. Don't abdicate it. If he's looking to have a relationship with you, not just somebody, then just be you, right? Ask for the things you want. Tell him what you like and don't like. Just acknowledge and appreciate him. That little bit goes a really long way.
All right. Thank you for joining us on Myth Busting Mondays, where we'll be busting myths every Monday. And if you have a myth you want us to bust, put it in the comments and we'll tackle it in a later video. Tomorrow is Ask O&M Live, where we answer your love, dating, and relationship questions live. So
that means you need to be here live.
Yeah, you have to be here live if you want us to answer your question. If you have a question beforehand, you can go ahead and put it in the comments of this video, or you can post it within the group.
Yeah, I'd rather that you don't put it in this thread of this video, because then I'm not going to be moving all around in the box, because I have to do that. Don't make it hard for me. See, I'm telling him what I want. Don't do that. If you want us to answer your question and you're like your time zone is, middle of the night, 5 o'clock, and you can never be live with us, sure, pop it in the group in a post and we'll be sure to answer your question. But don't make me look through all the posts and videos and all that stuff. That's a lot of work, because I'm the one live looking for those questions in my device. Anyway, so if you want us to answer your question, best way to do that, just show up tomorrow. 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. We'll be here tomorrow for Ask O&M Live. And on Thursday, we have Thursday's video. If you have a cutesy name you'd like us to think about for Thursday's video, we pick a subject, a topic, a theme, and we talk about it for 20 to 30 minutes. We don't have a cute name for Thursday's video. Who's the person that can help us with that? Anyone in this group? Who has an idea for Thursday's name? I don't know.
All right.
Right now, it's
maybe
just
you'll
Thursday.
win something.
Yeah. Oh, should we make it a prize?
We'll give it a prize.
That's not a bad idea.
We'll give a prize if somebody comes up with a good name for Thursday.
Okay.
All right, everybody, have a great evening, and we'll see you tomorrow.
Bye for now.